Hello guys, so I'm going to start by going over the questions that you were asking about on the review day in class. And the first question comes from, let's do 5.3, number 2. All right, so right here we have consider the graph. Now I'm going to do this one as well, okay? It has a turning point at x equals 1 and x equals 3 and a single point of inflection at x equals 2. That just means at this point right here that the concavity is changing. And so the root of x equals 1 has a multiplicity of 2. The multiplicity is 2 because there is a bounce. Okay, 4 has a multiplicity of 1. All right, let's do question number 2. Okay, now I'm going to try this question here so that we can work it out. Okay, which of the following has a multiplicity of 3? Okay, multiplicity of 3, which means that if you were looking at this visually, it would have this flattened concave down to concave up shape. Now I look at this and it's kind of sneaky. Look at that quadratic. You gotta do the factoring, okay? And so this one, look at this. That's actually, you can put those things together. There's 3 of them. This one, no, there's only 1 of them. Ooh, this one, yes. So it's these 3, and if I were to graph them, I would see this flattened part at the root of x equals 1. All right, so let's go ahead and check. Boop, boop, boop. Yay! Okay, so let's go back and let's scroll down and see what other questions we have. Okay. Notice here we're just picking out our multiplicities, and then we're solving, solving, solving. Notice that's a 4th degree. I'm going to go ahead and try this one. Let's see if I can't get this view window better. Okay, so let's solve. First thing I notice, you got to go through that checklist, is I have a common factor. Oh, and then I have a difference of squares. Notice here that we actually do have 5 solutions, okay? So x equals 0 is a multiplicity of 3 because it's 3 times. And then we have positive 12 and negative 12, each with multiplicities of 1. So we have 3 x-intercepts, 0, positive 12, and negative 12. It's a 5th degree, so it's going to be down, up, and it's going to go, whoop. Okay, forgive my ugly drawings, but you get it. Straight through, flatten, concavity change, straight through. Notice that 3 x-intercepts doesn't mean 3 solutions. You've got to include that multiplicity here. Okay. Now, notice here it says write all solutions. It's not asking to see the factoring. It's asking to see the solutions. X equals 0, comma, 12, comma, negative 12. Yay! All right, let's see what else we've got. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this question. It because I see it's multiple steps here. What substitution can we make to reduce this equation to a quadratic? So I'm going to say p equals x squared. Aha. Now it says substitute. Okay, p squared minus 13p plus 36. Sometimes it's important that you know what these directions mean. Okay, let's see. Substitute p equals into the equation and, oh, there it is, solve for p. All right, so that means I need to solve for p. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm not going to type all of this in. I'm going to do my factoring. Minus 9 minus 4. Okay, look at the directions. It says solve for p. P equals 9 and 4. Oh, p equals 9 and 4. All right, now solve for x. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to keep writing my factoring so that it looks like what we did in class. And now it says solve for x, which is this, right? Go back to x's. And I can either continue factoring this or, okay, whew, all right, so now we've got x equals 3, negative 3, 2, negative 2. Yay! All right, let's go ahead and see. Oh, all right. Let's go ahead and do this question. So this sort of gets into some review here. All right, now it's telling me that I have a 0 at x equals 2i. But notice, just because I give you a 0, we are still trying to factor to solve. It's just sometimes we have to move on to synthetic division to do that. All right, and so we have a choice. Somebody asked me, how do I choose synthetic division or do I choose long division? And if you're going to do synthetic division here, you're going to have to use the conjugate root theorem, and you're going to have to add in the conjugate root. If you're going to do long division, you are still going to have to use the conjugate root, but instead you're going to take your two linear factors and you're going to turn them into a quadratic factor. And you would do long division in order to factor this, okay? So you've got the synthetic division approach. You have the long division approach. You also have the ding, 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 regular factoring approach. Don't get too fancy unless you have to. Look at that. I'm pretty certain that regular factoring is going to work. Oh, regular factoring does work. So I am going to stick with this. I'm going to go back to x's. Oh, fancy. I'm going to just point that out there. Look at this. If I had done synthetic division or long division, I get the x squared plus 4 factor and I get what's left. So I could notice that we're solving for the real zeros. Make sure you read the directions right? I would do the problem like we do it in class, read the directions, and make sure that, okay, let's circle our answer. Real zeros, just those. I'm going to solve it, but I'm going to make sure I only type in x equals 4 and negative 4, just what they're asking for. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And as I'm looking at it, notice that I gave you a 0. So I could do x equals negative 1, and I could do synthetic division. Long division isn't an option because I only have a linear factor. But as I look at this, I think I could do regular factoring. I see grouping. Just because I give you a starting point doesn't mean you have to do synthetic division. So I'm going to start by, doing my grouping here. Okay, so we got an x plus 1. Okay, positive. 3 comes out, x plus 1, and I keep going. So the x plus 1, negative x squared plus 3. Okay, so you could type in this part, but it says solve for the other zeros. I would try, okay. So we get x plus 1 equals 0. Yes, negative 1, ding, ding, ding. That means I'm on the right track. Okay, negative x squared plus 3 equals 0. Okay, negative x squared equals negative 3. Yikes, a little bit out of space here. One moment, please. Oh, it's not going to let me scroll. Okay. All right, so let's see. I'm going to... So that gives me x squared equals 3. X equals plus or minus root 3. Okay. X equals negative 1 root 3 comma negative root 3. Submit. Yay. All right. And let's go ahead and try the next couple questions. All right, let's go ahead and do some long division questions. Now there were some questions here, so I'm going to just go ahead and do a few of them, and we'll see what happens. What term needs to be brought down to move on into the next step? The 9 needs to be brought down. Okay. All right, so I'm going to look really closely at this to make sure. Okay, and I might want to just work it out myself. I know that they are doing the work here, but sometimes it is easier if you do it yourself. Okay, round 1 is going to be an x. X squared plus 4x. Okay, because of subtraction and subtract. Okay, so right here they're missing the subtract, even though that's what they're doing. Okay, so we get 0 minus 6x plus 9, and then I get round 2. Notice it's a minus 6, so we get minus 6x minus 24. Subtract 33, because notice I've got to subtract. So this is 0, and this is positive 33. Enter your next step, 33. without including the remainder, what is the quotient? Okay, so the quotient was, notice they already have the equals, x minus 6. Aha. Rewrite this in terms of, okay, so it's a little tricky, but let's see what we did here. I'm going to write down what I did. I did x squared minus 2x plus 9 divided by x plus 4, and I got x minus 6 plus the remainder. Okay, so I know cross multiply is a little bit tricky here, but if I were to multiply this x plus 4 to the whole other side, okay, cross multiply, look at that. If I take my x plus 4 all the way to the other side, it's going to go to the first piece. And when it goes to the second piece, it's going to cancel out. Okay. So the x plus 4 is going to go to the first piece. And then we're going to be left with the remainder. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's try this one. Okay. X squared, and then I'm going to multiply. X cubed minus 2x squared. Enter. I'm just checking. Notice that, all right. So let's see. I think what I need to do is just do the problem on my own paper and then come back and fill it in. Just because this is a computer program, guys, doesn't mean you got to do everything here. All right, division. X squared. Oh, silly me. I missed that. Okay, so 5x cubed minus 10x squared. Subtract. Plus 1, okay? Oh, remainder, subtract is 0. Okay, so now let's try it. Okay, so we get a 5x cubed. All right, and so then what comes down, I would have just x minus 2, and then I would get a 1. Notice it's already got the plus, and I would get x minus 2. I would get 0. So I'm assuming that the subtraction is in front here. Okay, so let's see what happens. All right, so they're implying the subtraction here. Notice it wasn't written, but they were implying that. Okay, so the quotient is the result, and the remainder was 0. All right. Oh, this one's a goodie. Okay, so this question is nice because a rectangle shown below has an area of. So notice that area equals length times width. Okay. So if I'm solving for L, okay, I'm going to divide by, so length equals area divided by, okay, it equals area That's this one, divided by this one. Okay, so I know this is the long division, but notice that this is the 0, and I could probably do a synthetic division, okay, with minus. All right, so if I'm going to divide by W, I'm going to take the 5 out. And I'm going to divide by first this one and second this one. Okay, D. Okay. Okay, that's 60 over 5 is 12. Oh, that's pretty fancy. Okay, and then second, I'm going to divide the coefficient, so we get 1, 1 minus 4. All right, so it started at cubic, so that means this is quadratic. That's it. That's my answer. Okay. Now, you don't see this. You don't need to type the coefficient of 1. Plus x minus 4. Yay! All right, let's go ahead and keep going. And yes, question 7 is just like the one we did, but you actually have to do the long division. Okay. Close that, close that, close that, close that. Okay, let's look at our 5.5. So this is synthetic division. This one is important to make sure you put in the missing zeros. So let's go ahead and do this question here. Okay, so D, 0, see that missing? The 0, okay. Minus 48. Minus 32. 18. I'm just checking my arithmetic. I believe that's right. Oh, nope, I must have made a mistake somewhere. Okay, hold on. Oh, I just typed the wrong number. It's 48. Silly. Let's try that. Yay! Okay, so how do you write the answer? Okay, so it was cubic, so now it's quadratic. All right, so we are going to write it minus 3x squared plus 12x plus 3 plus the remainder. Squared. Plus 2 over x plus 4. Yay! Okay, oh yeah. Look at that, I gave you that question again to see. Okay, let's try this one because I know a lot of people had a question about it. So the only thing I do know is 3, negative 2, 2. K. All right, I'm just going to make my columns. Okay, and I know that this is the remainder, and I know this and this. Okay, so I'm set up. So now I'm actually going to try to do the problem. Okay, so what is the result? It says that K plus negative 36 is negative 34. So I'm going to add 36 to both sides. K equals 2. Let's see if that works. Now, K equals 2. Perfect. Okay, there is a full video of 5.6 questions posted. And then we did 5.7 in class. Although there was a specific question for 5.6, number 3. So I'll go ahead and do that one. Now, notice here that you could do this the synthetic division way, or you could do this the regular factoring way. So you've got two choices here. Okay, so knowing that these two things, right, you could do synthetic division with both of these zeros, or you could do long division. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm going to turn them into with long division, or don't forget that we have this thing called regular factoring, okay? U squared plus 21U. Okay, we have regular factoring here, which is U plus 25, U minus 4. Go back to x's. Okay, back to x's. Notice this x squared minus 4 factor is this one, which corresponds to these two. And if you had done the synthetic over here, we would have gotten 1x squared plus 25. Okay, so this is still equal to 0. So let's go ahead and solve. So I'm switching gears, and I'm going to isolate. X equals plus or minus square root negative 25, which is 5i. Now, I actually already have the answers to this piece here. Okay, x equals plus or minus 2. All right, so let's go ahead and type them. It says next step. Guys, it doesn't matter how you show the work. I would just do it on paper and then try to transfer the solution. Okay, let's see, I think I'm just going to type 5i minus 5i. 2 minus 2. Perfect. All right, guys, good luck with your studying, and come to office hours on Friday or Monday if you need me.